Jose Young's here with MMAfighting.com, standing in the United Center in Chicago next to Angela Hill, who fights at UFC 238 now. We were speaking a little bit off camera. I personally cannot pronounce your opponent's last name, your first or last name. Okay. Can you?
What do you know? Which one is her first?
No, I truly don't.
I think it's Xiaonan Yan.
I will believe you.
Yeah, like something like that. But
I will believe you. But you are taking this fight on short notice. You're filling in for Felice Herrig. Mm-hmm. You're coming off that loss. You've been very active in 2019. Was this the goal entering the new year?
It's always been my goal to fight as often as possible, and this is the first time I've actually been able to do it. The matchmakers know, my manager knows, like, as soon as I fight, I'm like, hey, when's the next one? Hey, don't forget about me. It's like 2 days later. So this time I actually got another fight 2 days later. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked that it's working out that way.
And when you fought Ronda Marcos, you were submitted in the first round. Did that factor into just wanting to get right back in there, or is it just always like fight, or erase the last fight as quickly as possible?
It's always fight, but that quick loss was definitely motivation to just start training meaner, start sparring with more, with more intention. And I went into the next week of training just like with a chip on my shoulder, like with just like the desire to do way better, to destroy, to just conquer my fears of performing and just go out there and be myself. So being able to implement that so soon was such a blessing, like I was able to jump in there when I'm still like hot and angry from the last loss, and I feel like that kind of showed with the Escobar fight.
So how does that different coming off a win now? Do you still have that fire to just, because you're not trying to erase a loss in your last performance?
Yeah, it's still there, like I think one of my main motivations is that I do want to become champion. I do feel like I have the potential to become champion, but I do feel like a lot of things mentally were holding me back, like maybe it was confidence or lack of confidence after losing so many times, because it is hard and it's a lot different going in with, like, for me, 6 losses as opposed to being undefeated or only losing once or twice. But it does mean that I have grit. It does mean I have more experience than a lot of people in my weight class. I think I'm like second in most UFC fights now, so that's pretty cool. I love to stay active, and that shows, and that's not including the 4 fights that I had outside of the UFC after I got cut and came back. So I'm definitely like battle tough. I'm using all that experience for me, and I feel like when I do become champion, I'm going to be it for a long time.
And what do you make of the division as a whole right now? Rose just lost in a pretty devastating way, and she's kind of hinted that she might not want to fight anymore, and she was almost relieved that she's not the champion. You have Andrade is now the champ. She has a loss to Joanna. Tatiana and Nina are fighting. A lot of people consider that could be a number 1 contender. And then Michelle Waterson is also out there.
Right.
What do you make of the division as a whole?
I think it's going to be like a big scramble. I think there's going to be a lot of changing overs of the belt. I think a lot of people thought Rose was going to be unstoppable after beating Joanna twice, but as you can see, she's like she got stopped. I thought she was doing really well. I think it's really crazy that she's considering retiring after that performance. But at the same time, there's a lot of emotion after you lose, and talking to someone right then might not be what they actually think. But I do think the belt's going to change around a lot, especially if they don't go with the rematch right away. I think there's a lot of people that I've fought that could beat Andrade. I think I could beat Andrade running it back, but I have to prove it. Nobody else knows what I know, so I have to prove
What weaknesses do you see in the new champion?
I think Rose used the same game plan that Joanna used, which is just keeping her away, keeping everything long, being big. I think she was the first person since Joanna that she fought that was a lot longer than her and knew how to use her reach. So I think, for instance, either one, Nina or Tatiana, I think either one of those girls can give her a lot of trouble. I think Nina more so just because she doesn't engage in the wrestling as much, and Andrade kind of feels comfortable in the clinch, picking people up and putting them down. So yeah, I think either one of those girls are big enough to give Andrade a lot of trouble.
And I'll ask you one final question. Top to bottom, I've seen a lot on Twitter. People think that this is the best, has the most female talent in terms of like in the UFC history for this specific card. Do you agree looking at it from top to bottom?
I mean, of course, I'm going to be biased. It's my weight class, you know. I think we have a lot of scrappy people, and, you know, it just depends on how you look at it. Some people may say, oh, only one or two people stand out. But now that the belt's been passed around a bit, it's really making things more interesting and showing that everyone is pretty much on the same level. It's just a matter of getting to that title fight opportunity and then getting the belt. So, yeah, I think we're doing pretty well when it comes to the UFC in general, not just girls.
Well, thank you so much for the time. It's been Jose next to Angela Hill at UFC 238 Media Day in the United Center. Thank you.